A few years ago, I worked for a boss who called pressure situations being on the point of the sword. When I got to thinking about General Smith, who's going to be talking to us this morning, it occurred to me that I don't know anybody in the United States Army who has been on the point of the sword more. He's been a commander at all levels, company commander, battalion commander, support command, Da Nang support command, a logistics command in Italy. He's been on high-level staffs, headquarters AMC, TRADOC now, of course, DA headquarters in the logistics business. And of course, he spent that short time in, as far as the clock is concerned, but a lifetime as far as experience is concerned in the Republic of Vietnam as the defense attaché in those last days. It's a rare privilege and a real pleasure for me to welcome him to this platform this morning and to present to you Major General Homer B. Smith.
Thanks very much, General Sharp. You're right, it's very difficult to see who's out in front. I think the point I'd like to make is that there are times when you can find yourself completely out of that, and in fact, sort of away from the military thing, and what do you do? How do you manage that? And that's sort of the situation I found myself in, particularly in those last 45 days over there in Vietnam. Mission changing momentarily, new things to have to orient on, being given new responsibilities by the ambassador, and having to use the same people to carry out those responsibilities. Well, the thing you learn real quick is that first and foremost, Americans have a great deal of flexibility. They can remold themselves and readapt themselves to a situation. And above all, United States military officers, whether they be Army, Air Force, Navy, or Marine Corps, and I had officers from all four services, are really flexible and can really step in and get the job done. And that's what sort of saved us over there.
Homer Smith was born in Brackenridge, Texas on February 16, 1922. He grew up in Ranger, Texas and graduated from Ranger High School in 1938 and attended Texas A&M University, graduating in January 1943. He was commissioned in the Ordnance Corps of the United States Army in May 1943 and joined the headquarters of the Southern Base section of the Communications Zone in England in October of that year. He served in the European theater until August 1946, which at that time he was separated from the Army. General Smith returned to active duty in July 1948 in Aberdeen Proving Ground, Maryland, and was commissioned into the regular Army in 1950, at which time he was detailed to the Field Artillery Branch. In August of that year, he returned to Germany and took command of C Battery of the 70th Field Artillery Battalion. Returning to his basic branch, Ordnance, in January 1952, he took command of the 701st Ordnance Maintenance Company of the 1st Infantry Division. Promoted to Major in November of that year, he became Division Maintenance Officer. In September 1953, he returned again to Aberdeen Proving Ground to become Executive Officer of the Human Engineering Laboratory. In 1960, he reported to the 707th Ordnance Maintenance Battalion in Korea as executive officer and took command of that unit until February 1961 after having been promoted to the grade of lieutenant colonel. In 1967, he assumed command of the 8th Logistical Command in Italy and served in that position until December 1968 when he joined the 1st Logistical Command in Vietnam to become in succession controller and chief of staff. He assumed command of the Da Nang Support Command in October 1969. Returning to the Pentagon in September 1970, he was assigned to the office of the Deputy Staff for Logistics. He was promoted to Brigadier General on the 1st of November 1970. In 1971, he became Director of Plans, ODCS LOG, and on January 1st, 1971, he became Director of Supply and Maintenance. He was designated Deputy Commanding General for the logistics support of the Army Material Command on the 31st of October 1973 and served in that capacity until his assignment as Defense Attaché, U.S. Embassy, Saigon, Vietnam, 1974.